I remember randomly waking up and I saw my babysitter literally with the camera taking photos of me with the flash on. I ended up looking at her saying, "What are you doing?" "Oh, Baba, you look so cute when you sleep." Wait, what? Are you good, bro? And at this moment, I realized my babysitter was taking photos of me sleeping. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane but embarrassing story. Now, today's story all takes place back when I was in high school, and I was actually in my grade 9 year. And in grade 9, I'm not gonna lie, I was a pretty basic kid. And by basic, I mean, I liked all the things that most grade 9 kids in my age liked. Like, for example, from Pokemon to Call of Duty to riding their bicycle and doing basically all the childish things you would normally want to do. But I think the most iconic thing for me was playing Call of Duty. I think that was like the most iconic thing for me back in grade 9. So comment down below what was your favorite game in your grade 9 year. But other than that, continuing on with the story, I remember as I was one day in my house playing Call of Duty in my grade 9 year, I remember my mom ends up coming inside my room. She comes inside my room and says, "Bubba, do you plan on getting off the game?" "What? No, I'm playing team deathmatch. What's going on?" "Bubba, I need you for something." "Okay, well, you can need me later. I need to finish this game." "Bubba, just pause the game." "Mom, I can't pause an online game." The amount of times I had to tell my mom that was severely insane. But then afterwards, my mom ends up coming up behind my Xbox and unplugging it. I was so confused on why until my mom says, "Bubba, I need to talk to you downstairs right now." "Oh, fine, Mom," is what I said. And I remember I ended up going down the stairs. When I got down the stairs, I remember I saw my older sister and also my dad sitting in the living room. And he said, "Bubba, I need to talk to you about something." Yeah, what's up, Dad?" "Okay, well, me, your sister, and your mom, we're gonna be going for a couple days." Okay, where are you guys going? Can I come?" "No, Bubba, you need to stay home and make sure the house is safe." "Oh, you want me to protect the house?" "Okay, yeah, I can do that, no problem." I remember every time my parents would leave me alone in the house, I really wouldn't mind it. But knowing that my parents were gonna leave me for a couple days in the house, I got pretty excited, thinking about all the stuff I could do without my parents at home. And actually, the only thing I could really think of that I would do would be playing video games. So I guess it wasn't that exciting, but still, it felt pretty manly to be in the house alone. But then afterwards, my mom ends up looking at me saying, "Honey, are you gonna tell him what we're gonna plan on doing?" "Wait, what do you mean plan on doing?" "Bubba, we're getting you a babysitter." At that moment, my jaw dropped. No joke, I was so like in shock that my parents were gonna leave me with a babysitter. Because don't get me wrong, they've done this before, but back when I was a baby, right? So now that I'm getting left with a babysitter in my grade 9 year, like I was in high school, I was a full-on man. I had puberty hair. Like I was a man, bro, and there was no way I wanted to have a babysitter. But still, my mom ends up looking at me and she looks me right in the eye and says, "Bubba, you're going to have a babysitter and you're going to obey her." "What? But Dad just said I was the man of the house." And my dad looks at me and just starts chuckling, laughing, saying, "Bubba, you are the man of the house. We're also gonna have a woman of the house." I remember I looked at him with such a blank face, just annoyed with him saying that. But at the same time, my dad was always the type of person to try to cheer me up in the most, I guess, angry of situations I've been in. But other than that, I remember afterwards, I ended up going straight back up to my room. I was upstairs angry in my room, just having a major child tantrum. And as I was getting really upset, I remember my mom ends up walking in. My mom walks in saying, "Bubba, if I plug in your Xbox again, will you please stop yelling?" "Yeah, sure, Mom," is what I said. And my mom is unplugging it back in. I guess my mom knew that my biggest weakness back when I was younger was my Xbox 360. And I think to this day, still, video games are probably my biggest weakness that let me, I guess, have a more relaxing time in my mind. But I remember after that, the next day ends up finally coming around. And when I woke up the next morning, I ended up looking around and I ended up walking down the stairs. And I remember walking around going, "Mom, Dad, are you guys home? Hello?" And as I was walking into every room, I realized that my parents weren't there. So I ended up going outside to my driveway and I saw that there was a bright pink smart car and my parents' car was gone. And as I was looking at the smart car, I ended up looking around it going, "What in the world is this?" And that's when my babysitter ends up coming out the front door saying, "Oh, there's the cute little sleeper. Hi, Bubba, that's my car." "Oh," is what I said. And that's when I realized my babysitter was already at my house when I was asleep. Obviously, I didn't care because I was fast asleep and she didn't really annoy me nor wake me up, which I'm happy about. But I remember I ended up basically going back inside the house and I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, my name is Bubba. Nice to meet you." "Hi, how are you doing? It's nice to meet you. Oh my goodness, I saw you were sleeping and like honestly I felt really bad, so like I didn't want to wake you up, but like hey, like how's it going?" Good, just a little tired. Do we have coffee?" "What? Oh my goodness, wait, you drink coffee? You should not be drinking coffee." "Okay, you know what? How about this? I got a new plan." For some reason, this babysitter was the most perky babysitter I've ever like had. But I remember she ends up taking me to the kitchen of my house and she ends up making me a hot chocolate. Which, don't get me wrong, maybe she's right. I was not supposed to be drinking coffee at my grade 9 year, but still, I was the man of the house. She had no right to tell me what to do. Well, I mean, she kind of did because she was my babysitter, but that's not the point. Going on, I remember after the hot chocolate, me and her, we ended up basically going over like all the house rules and everything she had planned for me. And then afterwards, I remember out of nowhere, she ended up going into her purse and she pulls out her camera. And before anyone says anything, no, this was no normal camera that, you know, a mom would bring to a football game. Like, this was a full-on DSLR HD Pro Max, like, flash on the top with a Rode microphone on it kind of camera. Like, more expensive than most of the YouTubers you guys watch nowadays. And I remember when I saw this, I looked at her and said, is that your camera? Oh, yeah, I use it for, like, work and stuff. What do you do? Are you a YouTuber? Oh, no, I wish. No, what I do is I, just do, like, personal photography. But you said you do it for a job. Well, like, it's also a job. Like, just don't ask questions, okay? Is what she said, really upset. And I remember I just went, okay, I won't ask. I'm not gonna say anything. And I ended up going up to my room and playing Call of Duty. Out of nowhere, I remember I ended up playing Call of Duty and I was up in my room for almost 4 hours straight. This was normal for me since, you know, I was a professional Call of Duty player. And since I was in my room for so long, my babysitter must have thought I fell asleep because out of nowhere, my babysitter ends up slowly opening my bedroom door. And she opened it so slow with her camera out with the light on. And she basically walks in, trying to sneak in until she saw me awake on my Xbox. She looks at me and I look at her, totally confused on what she was trying to do, and says, oh, sorry, I was just checking in on you. Are you good? Yeah. Why is your camera light on? Oh, don't worry about it. This was like, just, you know, I was just testing it. I just bought it. It's new. Okay. Well, I mean, can you not, you know, turn on your camera in my house? Well, okay, yeah. You know what? Just don't worry about it. And then she leaves my room really awkwardly. I had no idea why her camera light was on, but honestly, I wasn't gonna ask any more questions. But I think what ends up happening next, I gotta say, was the most weirdest thing possible. Because I remember out of nowhere, I ended up going downstairs to basically see what was going on, since I heard the TV put on loud in my living room. And usually babysitters don't usually use my house TV unless they were like really that bored. So I ended up going downstairs to see what she was watching. And when I got down there, I remember I ended up seeing my babysitter on her camera going through photos. And when I snuck up behind her just to see what she was looking at, I realized all the photos that she was going through were of photos of people sleeping. I was really confused, and that's when I said, yo, who's that photo of that guy sleeping? Oh, Bubba. She ends up shutting her camera really quickly and says, oh, nothing. It was for a school project. You were studying people sleeping at school? Yeah, we were just like doing like a test on like reactions of people being asleep. Yeah, you know, it's a big girl thing. Just don't worry about it. Okay. Well, that's kind of weird, don't you think? It's only weird if you think it's weird, Bubba. And she starts getting offended. I had no idea what was wrong with her, but once again, I decided to basically just leave her alone and go back upstairs to my room and play Call of Duty. And I remember one thing led to another. As I was playing Call of Duty for another like 4 hours straight, I ended up getting super tired and I ended up passing out with my headset on. I fell asleep and I still managed to put myself under my blanket, but as I was asleep, closing my eyes, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing a flashing light. And that's when I opened my eyes and I saw my babysitter holding a camera right up to my face and taking photos of me. And at that moment, I woke up and I stood up saying, what are you doing? Why are you taking photos of me? Bubba, just don't worry about it. It's like I said, for a school project. No, give me your dumb camera. I remember I ended up grabbing the camera out of her hand and I ended up going to my balcony and holding it over my balcony. And that's when she ended up confessing everything to me. She ended up going on her knees and saying, no, wait, Bubba, don't drop the camera, please. Listen, I can explain, okay? Okay, explain. I'm waiting. And that's when she ends up saying, I take photos of like kids when they're sleeping and I post it on the dark net. At that moment, I looked at her and my eyes opened wide. And that's when I said, what? Yeah, and I get like paid for it like full time, okay? Just please, just don't drop my camera. It's really expensive. I ended up looking at the camera and I ended up looking at her and that's when I dropped it. I dropped the camera. And then I remember as the camera fell, she ended up basically literally jumping off my balcony for it. It was actually really crazy how she did that, but honestly, I guess for some reason, she just really cared about that camera. And as she jumped off, she ended up landing on the pavement of my driveway. And yeah, let's just say cops got involved. My parents were asking what was going on. Until apparently, for some reason, the cops ended up thanking me and my family for finding this woman because she was a wanted criminal. Yeah, don't know where my parents hired her from, but honestly, if you guys think I did the right thing dropping the camera off the balcony, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.